The story starts by introducing us to Linus Baker, a man whose life is as gray as the rainy city he lives in. We see our protagonist working as a caseworker for the department in charge of magical youth, where he spends his days buried in files and his nights ignored by his cat. Linus is the ultimate rule follower, a man who has traded his dreams for a thick manual of regulations. Everything changes when Linus is summoned to the top floor of the Dichotomy building here. We meet extremely upper management, 3 faceless bureaucrats who exist only in the shadows. They hand Linus a level 4 classified folder and a secret mission. He is to travel to an orphanage on Marsyas Island to determine if the children there are a threat to humanity. We follow Linus as he boards a train, clutching his briefcase like a shield as the tracks lead him away from the city. The dreary grays are replaced by a blinding, brilliant blue. For the first time in his life, Linus is seeing the Cerulean Sea, and the beauty of it is clearly more than his rule-abiding brain can handle. Upon reaching the island, we see the house for the first time, a whimsical, multicolored Victorian structure perched on a cliff. This is where we meet Arthur Parnassus. The master of the house. Arthur is the opposite of every warden Linus has ever known. He wears mismatched socks and treats the dangerous magical children with nothing but kindness. The narrative introduces us to the monsters one by one. There's Talia, a gnome who would rather bury Linus in her garden than talk to him. We meet Chauncey, a green gelatinous blob whose only dream is to be a hotel bellhop. Then there's Fee, a forest sprite with the power to move mountains, and Sal, a shy teenager who turns into a Pomeranian whenever he feels judged. Linus is realizing that his reports and his life are about to get a lot more colorful. The story introduces us to the island's most feared resident. Lucy, he is a 6-year-old boy who also happens to be the Antichrist. The narrative shows us that while the shadows behind him are literally alive and prone to whispering dark things, the boy is mostly preoccupied with vintage records and his love for burnt toast. Linus expects a monster, but he finds a child who is simply afraid of his own nature. Little by little, our protagonist begins to change. We see Linus sitting by Lucy's bed, staying awake to help the boy chase away the nightmares of being a monster. The rule book in Linus's pocket starts to feel increasingly irrelevant as he realizes that the Antichrist is just a kid who needs to feel safe. The house is no longer a job site. It's becoming a home. It turns out that Arthur Parnassus has a history of his own. Linus discovers a hidden file showing that Arthur was once a ward of the state in a Dichotomy facility. We realize that Arthur isn't just a caretaker. He's a survivor who built a sanctuary so these kids would never have to experience the cold, gray regulations that Linus has spent his life enforcing. The story introduces external tension when the group visits the nearby village. We see the sharp contrast between the vibrant island children and the desaturated, narrow-eyed townspeople. The prejudice of the normal world is on full display, and Linus begins to realize that the real monsters aren't the ones with scales or wings. They're the ones who can't handle the color. A bond begins to form between Linus and Arthur. In a quiet moment on the porch, Arthur explains that he doesn't want the children to change to fit the world. He wants the world to change its mind about them. Linus, a man who has never had a family, realizes he's finally standing in the middle of one. As his 1-month assignment comes to an end, We see Linus sitting over his official report. The passive observer has officially left the building. He begins to tear the rules and regulations pages out of his binder, deciding that his final report won't be a list of threats, but a letter of recommendation for a life he finally understands. The climax begins when the villagers arrive at the house gates at night, fueled by fear and the very management that sent Linus there. They want the orphanage closed, and they aren't willing to listen to reason. Our protagonist stands at the gate, realizing that being objective is no longer an option. He has to choose a side. In the story's biggest payoff, Arthur reveals his true form. He is a phoenix, a creature of pure light and fire. He doesn't attack the mob. He simply burns with a brilliance that forces the darkness of their prejudice to retreat. It's a moment of pure spectacle that proves Arthur is exactly what the children need. A shield made of embers. Linus returns to the Grey City one last time. He walks into the office of extremely upper management and tells them they can't regulate a soul. He quits his job, leaving the beige files and the faceless bureaucrats behind, choosing a life in color over a life in line. The story ends with Linus returning to Marsyas Island. He's no longer a caseworker or an inspector. He's a father and a partner. We see the whole family standing on the cliff edge as the sunset fills the sky with pink and gold. The narrative concludes with a simple truth. You don't find a home. You build one.